That's a surprise, Dan. We eat our latkes with some very cool things, and I can't wait to show you, but I'm not going to talk about it just yet.
Can't wait.
Cool teas.
Not intentional, cool teas. Hello. Okay. Hello, welcome to Home Movies. Today is a very special day for me. It is a day where I make one of my favorite foods of all time. I mean, I feel like I say that a lot, actually. But all the foods I make for Home Movies are some of my favorite foods. Today is Latke Day. Yay! Happy Hanukkah to all who celebrate. We know we're a few days late on Hanukkah, but we're here and we're ready to make latkes with you. My dad would make them for Hanukkah, and I think before I really understood what Hanukkah was, I understood that there were latkes, and I understood that there were fried potatoes. And as a person who, brace yourself, isn't that big on French fries, I'm not. They're never crispy enough. Latkes to me are a perfect food. And I'll tell you the difference mostly is that latkes have a higher crispy outside. There's like more custardy inside. They're more deeply flavored and seasoned thanks to things like onion and chicken fat. Like they've just got a lot more going on. And I think that because we tend to eat them, once or twice a year, depending on which holidays you celebrate, I feel like that makes them a lot more special. And French fries you can get anywhere, anytime, any day. So who wants something you can have all the time? Are you ready?
You're rolling. We're ready.
Oh, we're ready. We're rolling. I'm ready. I am not going to bother peeling my potatoes, I think. No, you know what? I do. Do I? I really don't know. I'm like trying to think it through. Like, what would happen if I didn't?
It's a 3 pounds worth of potatoes, 3 or 4 peeled.
I guess I'm peeling. Use a good old-fashioned baking russet potato. You do not want to spend your time with like a waxy potato here. They just do not bind the same way. Using a starchy potato like a russet, which has a high starch content, really allows for us to add as little flour or breadcrumbs or matzo meal as humanly possible. Don't worry about putting your potatoes in a water solution. They're gonna oxidize, but it's kind of like this magic trick where once we grate them, they're gonna start oxidizing immediately. And then when we squeeze all the water out of them, all of that oxidation comes out with them. It's like actually kind of a miracle. Like the Festival of Lights themselves. It's a potato miracle. One of the most fun things you can do with a latke is throw a party, like where latkes are the focus.
What happens to the latkes party?
You eat latkes and you drink a ton of vodka. You get baited. This makes like, I'd say 2 dozen latkes, maybe a little more, a little less, depending on how big you make them. I am not a fan of like the reheat of a latke necessarily. I don't think it's necessary. And then our onion. If you need to use 2 onions for this to get to a pound, that's totally fine. But this is just gonna get peeled and we'll grate it on the box grater as well. This is definitely something you want to protect your eyeballs from. It took me like 34 years of living on this planet to discover that I wear contacts, which is why the onions don't bother me. Because every time I cook with my glasses, it's like sobbing. Like I can't see anything. And then I was like, for some reason, whenever I wear contacts, I'm like, oh, because they're little pieces of plastic over your eyeballs. Duh. So I've just cut the skin off the onion, I've peeled the potatoes, and now I'm gonna grate them using a box grater, the largest hole setting. Dan was worried that this was gonna take me too long, but I'm pretty fast.
How quickly do you think you'll do it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 6 potatoes. I think that I can do this in 3 minutes.
Okay. Start
Okay. What do I get if I do it in less time? If you have like a little piece of potato left, like don't be a hero. Okay, it might take me 4 minutes. Okay, then I'm saying 4, because I'm teaching. I'm sure I'll come up with some other stuff to say. If you have a grater attachment on your food processor, you can use that too. This is a tough workout. My arm is tired, I'm not gonna lie. No, 4 minutes is still really good. I also like to grate it lengthwise instead of crosswise because you get longer strands of potato, which gives you like a increased chance of longer bits. It's hard. My arm is hurting. That was 3 minutes? I have 1 potato left. I'm sweating. Dan said I couldn't do it. He said it was gonna take too long. He's like, how many potatoes are you even grating? And I was like, I mean, how many ever it takes for 3 pounds. So sometimes that's 4 really big potatoes. Sometimes that's 6 smaller potatoes. I had 6 smaller potatoes, which I would say adds a little bit of time to my overall time. Well, I said I would do it in 3, but then again, I stopped to talk about a lot of things. Or if it had been just like head down, no talking, what kind of service is that to you, the viewer? Now I'm gonna grate the onion, which is annoying, and you'll get like, you know, the outside won't always grate. But see how it kind of like peels up like that? It kind of protects your fingers, so I don't mind that at all. Ow, oh no, I'm bleeding.
Are you?
Yeah. I cut myself on the box grater. I put a Band-Aid on. We're back. It's fine. It doesn't hurt, but it is bleeding. So just be careful out there, kids. It's because I was so stressed out about losing that potato game. So, all right, you guys want to play a different game? You want to play a game? What is that movie? Scream? Oh. I think Scream also does that, right? Yeah, thank you.
I think Scream is, do you like scary movies? Right?
Yeah, but it's like, do you want to play a game? And then she's like, what kind of game? And then they're like, do you like scary movies? And she's like, depends. And then it's like, she's dying.
What's the game you want to play?
How much liquid do you think we're gonna get out of these potatoes and onions? It's 3 pounds of potatoes and 1 pound of onions. How much liquid? Like in a measuring cup? No, I don't. I'm guessing like 1.5 cups.
I was gonna say like half cup.
Okay.
That's my guess.
2 cups? I'm gonna season this with salt.
More moisture. 1.5 cups.
It's gonna help draw out the moisture of the potatoes and the onions. So we're gonna let them sit. So just mix this well. See how the potatoes are starting to oxidize? I promise you they won't be oxidized when we squeeze all that water out. It's very cool. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit more salt. This isn't your only chance to season, but it is your first chance to season. The water's already starting to come out. Very exciting. All right, we're gonna let this sit for, let's call it 5 minutes. It's been about 5 to 10 minutes. I hope you're all ready for this rousing game of how much liquid? But first I want to point out the potatoes have not oxidized. They're like pure white still. You'll notice that all of that oxidation is actually happening in that liquid. Oh. So pretty cool, I think.
Dan made the right point just now that it is a Hanukkah miracle.
I already said that joke.
Wait, what?
Wow, classic man when you're like,
Wait, what?
I make the joke and then no one hears you, and then the man makes it and they're like, oh my God, did you hear Dan? That was hilarious. I made that joke first.
What?
When I was talking about it the first time. Roll back the tape. All of that oxidation comes out with them. It's like actually kind of a miracle, like the festival of lights themselves. So as you can see, I'm like really going for it. And just when you think you can't squeeze anymore, you squeeze a little bit more. And this is what you should be left with. Like a pretty dry, wow, still more liquid. This is what will get you the crispiest latke. So like see the distinction between like this bowl of wet mush and this. This is very satisfying to me. I enjoy this process. We're already at 2 cups. Okay, we'll definitely clear like almost 3 cups of liquid.
Yeah, that's a lot of liquid.
I told you. Imagine trying to make latkes without squeezing. They'll never get crispy. And some people that are like true overachievers will like let this liquid settle and then scoop the potato starch from the bottom of the bowl and use that to bind the latkes instead of matzo meal or panko. And I'm sure you've already guessed I won't be doing that. Okay, yeah, we have exactly 3 cups of liquid. Sadly, this all goes away. Sorry, my sink's a mess. That's the potato starch I'm talking about. This is like fully potato starch. Isn't that nuts? It's pretty cool. It's called an amorphous liquid. It's like a liquid you can hold.
Liquid that does not flow. The atomic structure is disordered like that of a liquid, but it is rigid and holds its shape like a solid.
Yeah, this is an amorphous liquid. It's pretty cool. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. More salt, more pepper. These are just some fine-ish breadcrumbs I had on hand. I'm adding about, let's call it a 1/4 cup, just to help keep it bound. I'm gonna start with 1 egg. You'll notice that as you start to fry the latkes, the mixture will get a little looser and even more water will start to come out. And that's why, I think that like the first half of the latkes when you're making them are always the best. But this is our mixture. It looks a little dry, but that's exactly where we want it. I'm gonna use a mixture of chicken fat and canola oil. This isn't a deep fry, but it is, you want it to be enough to come up around the edges of the latke. If you're vegetarian, please feel free to skip the chicken fat. I'm gonna set up a little rack with a paper towel. And not unlike regular pancakes, latkes or potato pancakes have the tendency to get better after the first one. It's just like a thing where the first pancake is always a little wonky. But once you get the first batch kind of going, you'll notice that the heat in the skillet's a lot more even and that things happen a little bit quicker. But I'll start with like a medium-high heat. I'll let the chicken fat melt entirely. I'll wait until the fat gets like shimmery, which is how you know you're ready to do your first little tester. All right, I'm gonna do a little tester here. The thing to remember when you're doing latkes, you don't wanna like do it super packed. You wanna keep it like relatively light and fluffy. Each latke will get about 1.5 to 2 minutes per side. It'll also take some time of like understanding your particular stove and the size of the skillet that you're using, the material of the skillet. Are you using a nonstick? Are you using, which is fine. Are you using a stainless steel? Are you using a cast iron? These stainless steel skillets on this style burner, which is like a thing that most people have, the heat tends to concentrate in the center, which means that I spend a lot of time like, I'll like rotate my latke, which is a bit fussy. And you don't have to do that, but I do think that it gets you like a evenly golden brown on all sides. All right, I'm gonna flip this. Oh, not done enough. I was afraid of burning it, I'm not gonna lie. Should have let it go. That's fine. The rest will be deeper golden brown. This isn't a great tester, I can already tell. It's a little unevenly fried, but we're gonna redeem ourselves when we do it again. Because look how dark it is on the edges and look how pale it is in the center. This little piece fell off. I hate that. We hate to see that. I'm putting this latke out of its misery. I was also too delicate and I didn't like press it evenly. Also, the more you fry at one time, the better experience you'll have because the amount of stuff you have in the skillet increases, what is it, like the surface? Wow, never try to explain science. It displaces the liquid is what I was trying to say. I like to give them like a little swirl to encourage them to get even color. That one does look like a hash brown. Also, is there anything worse than going to a diner and then ordering hash browns and instead of shredded crispy potatoes, you get, it's like chunks of potato? That's sort of what I mean is that like the term hash brown is very loosely defined. And I won't stand for it. That's a weird one, sorry about that. But latkes should be kind of weird. I think when they're too round, it means that you've like packed them in. I noticed that after that first batch, they were falling apart a little bit, which indicated to me they needed a bit more binding. So I added another egg before I went too far, and that should do the trick. So if you think that your potatoes are perhaps too dry, feel free to add another egg before you make the rest of that batch. So using like the tip of your spoon, you can kind of just pat it together, encouraging like the wispy parts to form, but you know, being ginger with it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, very nice. So while those are finishing, we can talk about our toppings. Finally, the great reveal. I'm a simple gal, and I like two things. I like sour cream, and I like applesauce. and I have both. Of course, we also have chives, and we also have salmon roe, because salmon or trout roe on a latke is, I do not know anything better. This is applesauce that I made last night. That's why it's pink. Well, I didn't peel the apples. That's why it's pink. Wow, I love this applesauce. I'll put the recipe in with the recipe for the latkes. If you want to put your sour cream in a dish, be my guest. But if you want to serve it out of the container, you could also be my guest. These are some fat chives. Holy moly. I like to just serve the latkes all at once on one plate. And sometimes if I'm doing a dinner, I'll bring some to the table with the accoutrement and then go back in the kitchen, fry some more, bring some more out. It's a labor of love. It's definitely, you know, along the fussier side of things that you would do, but I feel like the payoff is super, super worth it. So this is sort of like your sweet and salty, and this is like your savory-salty. I almost forgot my most important part. I love drinking vodka with latkes. Some friends of mine always had a party called Vodka and Latkes, or Latkes and Vodka, and I never went because it was too far from my house, but I grew up really wanting to go. I also maybe have never been invited. Now that I'm recalling, I don't think we were that good of friends. Aww. Anyway, but now I get to host my own vodka and latke party. It's funny. Ooh, it's a new bottle, so I get it. All right. This is just vodka that's very cold. I keep it in the freezer. It's a really good latke. I do wish they were smaller so I could eat them with my hands. They're delicious. And they're still so crispy, which I feel like is all we can ask for. Goes great with vodka.
Cool. Do you want to eat the other one?
I mean, I'm gonna eat the other one. Thank you so much for coming to this episode of Home Movies. I hope you make your latkes. I hope that you find joy in the process, which can be long and tedious, but rewarding and delicious.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. Missed opportunity for dill.
Wow.
I'm deeply embarrassed. I'm sorry to all of you.
You're talking about the dill, right?
I'm talking to everyone who expected me to put dill on this because I really should have. But the chives are really, I think, where it's at.